Ever since the story about the horrific rape and murder of a young trainee doctor in Kolkata broke, I'd been thinking about how voters in West Bengal look at this issue. To what extent has it impacted the image of West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, and how do voters look at the handling of this case and the public outrage that we've seen? So we commissioned C Voter to do this weekly tracker for us. I want to tell our viewers before I start that this was done over the last 2 days. It has a margin of error of plus minus 5%, and this poll has been done specifically in West Bengal. So that being said, let's get started. I'll take question number 1. Who do you think is to blame for the rape of a young doctor in Kolkata and her subsequent murder? Now look out in the responses how divided voters are. So depending on their political affiliation, voters have given different responses. So those who lean towards the Trinamool say that 39% feel that the hospital management is responsible. This is amongst Trinamool workers. Amongst those who are India Alliance voters, which is Congress plus left, 49% say hospital management is responsible. Amongst BJP voters, 41% say state and police is responsible. Now usually this is not what you see in a poll. Typically on a question like who's to blame for this rape and murder, you would have people directionally pick the same, whether it's the accused, the hospital management, state and police, they typically pick the same option. Here, in all three categories of voters, the responses are quite divided. This is the first question. In a moment I'll take more. Yashwant, you do a lot of polling. Do you see this often, that three different categories of voters, very different responses in, what is a case? It's not a political issue per se, it's a law and order kind of issue, and there's a crime and murder and rape that's happened. Despite that, who's responsible has such varying responses.
Absolutely, Rahul. Generally, when these kind of gender issue questions or things happen, we tend to take cross-tabulation or male and female to see the gender biases. And, you are correctly pointed out that the issues which are not partisan level or politically in that way polarizing, generally on the major things, as we have seen in the recent MOTN on the issue of, say, farmer subsidy or MSP and other, people were just going in one direction regardless of their political affiliation. But here in this case, what we realized that the variation was not in the male and female out there as such. Variation was coming in the political partisanship, which actually is a sorry state of affair, because West Bengal has a very, very unfortunate track record of political violence and the political way of looking at violence and different crimes. So unfortunately, while and we will come up with the for the audience even on the All India survey that we have done on that one, where in the rest of the country we do not actually see much of the political division as such on the issues of rape and murder and gruesome crimes. But in West Bengal, unfortunately, we still do see a trend of different political.
I want to take the next question. How has this rape and murder impacted the image of Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee? Let's have those responses on our screen now. How has the Kolkata horror impacted the image of West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee? And let's take a look at the responses. So amongst BJP voters, 64% say there's been a significant impact on Mamata Banerjee's reputation. Problematically for Mamata Banerjee, even amongst Trinamool voters, 40% say that there's been a significant impact on Mamata Banerjee's impact. Only 19% of Trinamool voters say there's been no impact. Only 19% say there's no impact. Amongst India Alliance voters as well, almost like BJP voters, they're thinking there's been a significant impact. Now, Monojit Mondal, this is problematic from the Trinamool's perspective. Naturally, India Alliance and BJP voters will think that this is tarnishing Mamata Banerjee's reputation, but 4 out of 10 in that sample who were Trinamool voters said that this horrific rape and murder has had a significant impact on Mamata Banerjee's reputation. That should set alarm bells ringing in Trinamool circles.
So I think the kind of perception that has been created in the last 2 weeks or so, in fact, nearly 20 days now, I think it is quite natural that the direction will be like that. But this is mere perception. Mamta Di, as you know, that Mamta Di had to fight this kind of perception battle even in 2021 about corruption, even in 2020, 2016, during the middle of the election, that you had that, quote unquote corruption cases, where incidentally, Suvendu Adhikari himself was seen to be taking money during that point of time. So I think this perception battle after 2011, Mamta Di had to fight. And every time Mamta Di won with something majority. That's what at the records of West Bengal election say. This time,
The,
quite the
yes.
timing of the poll that you are talking about, I will still believe that at least nearly 35-40% people don't cutting across political line, even among the BJP 64%. That should have been 100% actually. 100% people should have been saying that this is all because of Mamta Di that rape has happened. I mean, this is something that you cannot actually argue about. If you talk about vicarious responsibility, then every political leader, starting from Mamta Di to Narendra Modi, should be taking responsibility from each
Now
and every
Shehzad
rape that has been
Poonawalla,
happening
we
in this
saw the
country
BJP take
every
up
day, every
Sandesh
50
Khali
minutes.
in a big way before the general elections. You thought, and your party top brass was convinced, that that would be a game changer. In the end, Mamata Banerjee came out strong on the 4th of June. Now the next elections in West Bengal are due only in 2026, so Mamata Banerjee still has 2 years. It's damaged her reputation in the immediate context, but given that elections are still 2 years away, are you concerned that the BJP, Mamata Banerjee still has a lot of time to recover from the ground that she's lost, like we saw after Sandesh Khali?
First of all, Rahul, I am not very comfortable with the fact that an idea or a movement for justice should be reduced to a subject matter of partisan politics or political dividends. But I understand that what you're doing is an intellectual exercise which you've done every week on important issues of the country. So, in respect of that, let me put it this way. Rahul, let's assume that we lose the 2026 elections once again. We get badly thumped in the election. Does that make a wrong issue right?
Not at all.
The question today is that this is an issue of justice for that 31-year-old girl. I understand your question. I'm coming to it. Just give me 10 seconds. Secondly, as far as the Mamata Banerjee's perception or the way that she's being perceived is concerned, and with so many people in the TMC also unhappy about it, is basically for 3 reasons. Those 3 reasons are that Mamata Banerjee has been brazen and she has been living in denial for a very long period of time. But today the water, जैसे कहते हैं ना, पानी सर से ऊपर चला गया है in the case of this particular rape case. Secondly, Mamata Banerjee seems to believe that everything can be hidden away under this liberal media privilege that she gets on a lot of occasions, because many a time senior journalists don't call her out. In fact, they start calling out her cracked, for instance, when she's come out of protest, her entire party has been built on protest, but the way she cracked down on protest, you had senior journalists tweet about the police, not about the protesters who are being beaten up by the police. So she gets a lot of this liberal media privilege and cover fire from a lot of sections of society for various reasons, including some very well known. And thirdly, this time Mamata Banerjee has been unable to in fact get her message across to the sections that vote for her the most. See, Sandesh Khali was a rural area. She did not care that much, but the urban area, which has been a potent supporter of Mamata Banerjee this time, she has let them down, and therefore these young people are on the streets demanding justice, and Mamata Banerjee has misread their mood. She has been completely in denial, and the statements she has made, including the one today, that aag laga denge to hum bhi aag laga denge, the way she has allowed the promotion of the principal. When you ask the first question that the hospital authorities are seen as guilty, are the hospital authorities not under Mamata Banerjee? She is the health minister. So how can you divorce the fact that people look at the state as responsible, and people, even though they look at the hospital authorities as responsible, somewhere the responsibility lies with Mamata Banerjee. So I would seem to think that the entire focus right now is that Mamata Banerjee's actions have actually led for her problems in this particular issue, because the way she has behaved in this case, it seems that she is doing more of Balatkari Bachao, not Beti Bachao.
Okay.